ladies and gentlemen, you know that song, you know it better than anybody. It is time for WCW Nitro Retro Review for August 26, 1996 episode. And let me turn my camera back on so y'all can see me live and in color. My camera ever turns on, and here I am. What do you know? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just thought maybe I'd throw that introduction song in there just to give you a clue what I'm doing here today. Ladies and gentlemen, this was an absolute fucking travesty of an episode and a complete waste of my fucking time. Was there some good segments and moments in this episode? Yes, I would have to agree with that. But there was a lot of insulting kind of innuendos going on here with some of the WCW talent that they had on their roster from back in that time. And I will explain some of those disrespectful innuendos that occurred during this episode. So, starting things off, the very first match on the episode was actually Chavo Guerrero having his in-ring debut against Billy Kidman, who was as well in the Cruiserweight division making his in-ring debut. And I have to say, this match was a well-performed match. It was only 3 minutes and 40 seconds long, but it was a decent match nonetheless. A lot of good action occurred in this match, as well as the victory ending with Chavo Guerrero walking away victorious. This is where the first insult occurred. Chavo Guerrero is well known back then that he didn't really have good English. He was probably just at the time learning the English language. He was more, profound in, let me rephrase that, using words that may not even make sense to what I'm saying. God, am I sounding stupid here? Sorry, guys. But pretty much, he's Spanish, so he knew Spanish a lot better than the English language. But he was talking pretty well. He was talking pretty fluent in the English language, in my opinion. I mean, he was saying some things in Spanish, but overall, he seemed like he knew what he was talking about in the English language. As time went on in this segment and promo, we had freaking Mean Gene Okerlund interfere with him talking and told him, whenever we get an opportunity, we'll try to translate all this stuff that you're saying so that we can get a better understanding of what you're talking about. What the fuck? Like, that is like a complete slap in a man's face. He's talking English. If you watch the episode, he'd say the same thing. I mean, you could see there was a barrier with his English speaking skills, but he was speaking pretty well English-wise, but he was more, he was better with speaking the Spanish language. I understand that, but Guerrero was still speaking the English language pretty decently where we could understand what the fuck he was talking about. This was a joke and a complete insult to any person who, especially a guy who had an in-ring debut that performed pretty decently. I give the match a 3.5 out of 5 stars, so it was a good match nonetheless. Moving on with this pathetic fucking episode, Big Bubba Rogers, who aka Big Boss Man, and Kevin Sullivan defeated Jim Powers and Marcus Alexander Bagwell, formerly known, or actually known after this as Buff Bagwell. And I have to say this much. This match absolutely fucking bored the hell out of me. I didn't even care for this match. This match absolutely sucked balls. And thank God it only lasted for 4 minutes and 20 seconds. The match ended, and Big Bubba Rogers and Kevin Sullivan picked up the victory. I give this match a complete, utter fucking dud. Excuse me, dud. Dud. I don't even give this a 1. It was trash, and it was a waste of fucking time. Chavo Guerrero Jr. versus Mike Ineos, where Chavo Guerrero picked up the victory here in 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Match was pretty decent, nothing too bad or shabby about it. and Chavo Guerrero walked away victorious. As the match ended, Chavo Guerrero did advertise that him and Diamond Dallas Page will be competing in a one-on-one match at Fall Brawl 1996. So I'm pretty excited about taking a look at this match and seeing how this all unfolded at the time. So I'm pretty much thinking that probably maybe DDP is going to walk away with getting the 50-50 poking its ugly head, because Chavo Guerrero in the August 19th episode actually got the victory, surprise victory actually, over Diamond Dallas Page. Rey Mysterio versus Mr. JL, who is actually another wrestler dressed up as a Mexican wrestler, only he's not Hispanic. He looked a lot like Rey Mysterio, and he was competing for the Cruiserweight Championship. This match was outstanding. A lot of great things were happening back and forth. The action was very technical. There was grappling holds. There was flying maneuvers. All kinds of stuff going on. Submission holds applied, things of that sort. But there was one small problem, two of them actually, that happened during this event. We had, in the middle of this match going on, a championship title match in the Cruiserweight division is going on, and they're more concerned about having a segment with Hulk Hogan and the rest of the NWO members, Hall and Nash, vandalizing a fucking truck and doing that shit when they could have just done this on a separate segment. After the match, before the match, anything. But they had to do this in the middle of the match, which was actually a very good match. By the way, I ranked this match as a 4.5 4 out of 5 stars, excuse me. And by far, this was the best match on the whole entire card for this episode. I was very excited about this match. It did go over 14 minutes. So definitely a great match by both of these competitors in this match. The sad thing is you got freaking Hulk Hogan and his group of goons doing vandalizing shit to property, and it's just freaking it's retarded. It makes no sense. Like, why do that in the middle of a good match? I mean, you want to do that before or after, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I mean, it wasn't a bad segment. It was helping build the NWO's takeover over WCW in a way. But, I mean, it just really, to me, it astounds me that they had to go about this route, doing this to a Cruiserweight title match that was actually rather good. So it kind of pisses me off a little bit by what they did there. Then after that, we also had from there, and Rey Mysterio actually picked up the victory and walked away as still the Cruiserweight champion. Later on, challenging Dean Malenko for the Cruiserweight title, which I'm pretty certain they had on Fall Brawl of 1996. From there, Randy Savage had an interview with Mean Gene Okerlund. Mean Gene, Randy Savage pretty much went all crazy on this promo. It has been announced during this episode that it was signed and sealed that at Halloween Havoc of 1996 that Randy Savage would be facing the man, Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, for the World Heavyweight Championship at Halloween Havoc. Giant has a little bit of issues with that. Giant faced Jim Duggan one-on-one that night and defeated him in decisive fashion with a little bit of interference by Jimmy Hart. He won by the choke slam and then did a promo with Mean Gene after his match and pretty much said that he is going to destroy Randy Savage at Fall Brawl to get the match with Hulk Hogan at Halloween Havoc. He also says, hey, you say I let WCW down at Hog Wild. Well, you're incorrect about that because you didn't even freaking show up to help me when I had the whole entire NWO attacking me at one time. So that was a good segment. I did enjoy listening to Big Show's rant about Randy Savage. It definitely made sense, and he sounded really good in comparison to how he is in today's day and age with promos. He's just fucking boring. So, yeah, that's pretty much my overall opinion about Big Show's segment as a promo person on the mic. Next match, Arn Anderson and Ric Flair. Yeah, this match was a 1 out of 5 stars with Giant and Jim Duggan, so I was not impressed by this. This wasn't a big deal or anything worth watching outside it was a squash match. Arn Anderson and Ric Flair faced the Rock and Roll Express. Arn Anderson, Ric Flair picked up the victory here against the Rock and Roll Express. Nothing big important happened here. They just pretty much made their announcement that they are going into war at Fall Brawl against the NWO and so forth. Ric Flair put on a crazy fucking promo, as he usually did back in the day. And he just was fucking crazy. But it was funny as hell listening to him talk and pretty much say what he needed to say about the Four Horsemen and where they're going to with the NWO and all that stuff. So definitely a good segment on that, but the match itself was just not all that great. I give it a 2 out of 5 stars just to be nice. Alex Wright versus Chris Jericho. Decent match. Did not have a problem with this match. It did end in a no contest. Unfortunately, Alex Wright missed Jericho. It hit his forehead on the steel barricade. And Jericho decided that he didn't want to win in a count out. He wanted to defeat him one-on-one in by pinfall or submission. And this was his in-ring debut as well. So, you know, Jericho pretty much says, hey, I'm coming into WCW to do one thing, and that's to be a competitor, win championships. And he had, I don't know why they got everybody on this fucking card or on this damn roster so concerned with the NWO when there's only 3 fucking guys. My God, it should just be the main talent, the main eventers worrying about the NWO at this point. I mean, they didn't have a shitload of guys at this point. I mean, it was just 3 freaking people. That's the amount of people you would have for a regular faction. They weren't like the established wrestling company against the other wrestling company invasion type of thing. It still hasn't developed into that yet, but they were acting like it already happened. Pretty fucking dumb in my opinion. Did not like it. On top of it, Alex Wright was trying to say something to Mean Gene after Jericho said what he wanted to say, and he cut him off and said, we're running out of time. Sorry, but we'll speak to you later. Like, what the fuck? Again, another, you know, Alex Wright did not have the look of a great wrestler. I didn't think he was all that big of a deal back in the day, but he put on a decent performance with Jericho, and I mean, he held his own in the company back in the day. I just didn't like his attire, his look, everything else kind of seemed bland and boring. But he was a good talent in-ring performer. And to cut him off like that was just utterly retarded. Again, another insult to fucking young blood talent that could perform and give people what they want to see. In-ring competition and good wrestling. And they just fucking, just like, who cares? I don't give a crap what you got to say. Moving on. All right. Well, this match, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars for good action. The end result was kind of crappy, but, you know, based on what was going on in the situation, it made perfect sense. The next match after that was a tag team match between the Steiner brothers and the Blue Bloods, which was Earl Robert Eaton and Squire David Taylor, excuse me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about here. This match was complete garbage. Another wasted out Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner bullshit BS match that didn't really mean a crock of shit. The Blue Bloods broke up. They stopped dealing with each other, started hitting each other and attacking one another. The Steiners were pretty much going, whoa, what's going on? I thought you guys were best friends. They're a tag team. They're decent. And they were giving them some props, I guess. But they pretty much announced that they were going to be competing for the WCW tag team titles against Harlem Heat and saying that they're going to walk away as the new tag team champions and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? This match was a 1 out of 5 stars, just to be generous, but it wasn't all that big and important. Another tag team match, which was the main event, Chris Benoit and Steve McMichael versus Lex Luger and Sting actually ended up being a no contest. This segment at the end to make it a no contest made a lot of sense, and it was a very good segment. Thankfully, they did something correct on this fucking show to justify this as being at least a fucking show instead of being complete and utter trash. Chris Benoit, Steve McMichael, and versus Lex Luger and Sting. Good in-ring action, pretty decent. Give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Definitely a nice little main event. The NWO came in, interfered with Steve McMichael first. They attacked him, spray painted the NWO, and then spray painted everyone else, and attacked. Ric Flair came in and tried to save his team, as well as Sting and Lex Luger, and he got spray painted on the eyes and then spray painted on the head by Hulk Hogan. This was a reckoning and beginning of showing the NWO was taking over. This segment was okay. This was the right thing to do at this point. They even took over the announcer's desk, spray painted the NWO over WCW's logos, and went ahead and had Hulk Hogan come on there and goes, "Here's the NWO!" And, Kevin Nash, he's getting on the headset and he's saying, "Yep, we're taking over, guys," and all that kind of stuff. Pretty funny, entertaining stuff there. So I definitely was happy with the ending. Just overall, though, it wasn't all that great of an episode. Best match, WCW World Cruiserweight Championship match was the best one on the card. The rest of it was pretty average or below average. So it wasn't all that great of an episode. I give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars overall. So this episode was actually trash, mostly, with a few good things that happened here and there. But what really hurt the episode was the insults that they did to their talent. And I find that to be utterly and completely retarded. To do that to young talent that was performing extremely well in the middle of the ring. But anyway, if you guys have not checked out this episode and you want to, go ahead. I recommend it just to see what I saw and see if maybe you catch the same exact things that I did. And also leave your comments and opinions down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the video. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and let's get this channel going here, man. I really want to make this into a decent channel and get this on its feet. Eventually, I will, by next year, I'm going to start trying to get some better software to make the show seem a little bit more presentable, feel like a show instead of just me doing video after video of reviews of bullshit, but actually make it feel like an actual show. But anyway, at this time, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day, guys. Bye.